Hey, superstars. In this video, we're going to talk about your inner compass and how to trust your soul's guidance. Really important topic. I've been studying this for a long, long time. It's something I often teach, and I think it's just super valuable. So I wanted to make just a real concise video on like what it is, how to do it, why we use it, what it means. So we're going to talk about your inner compass. Inner compass, right? It's the difference between your soul's guidance and your head's commentary, right? So, your head, it runs on logic. That brain of yours is based in fear and scarcity and keeping you safe, keeping your organism alive. And it's, external validation, right? It's looking to the outer world to show that it's okay. So it keeps you safe and it keeps you small. Your soul speaks to you through your body. Okay, so it's through sensation, right? It's like sensations and it's ease and it's a quiet yes, right? I often find it's awfully quiet, right? And sometimes we need those moments of silence or getting away in order to tap into it, right? To really tap into it. So, you know, the shift that most people miss is that the body's no it's as holy as a yes, right? If you only listen when life feels good, well, you'll miss where your soul is guiding you most loudly. And it's right inside that discomfort, right? So let's talk about what I mean by your inner compass. So, your inner compass is a felt sense that tells you you're aligned, right? And so, one of my teachers, Abraham Hicks, if you study them, they call it your emotional guidance system, right? Look at it as your emotional guidance, your intuition, your higher self. And I would say, in all of my studies and working with a lot of people, I think our intuition comes to us in various forms, right? So your body sensation could feel a little bit different than mine. I think likely it does, from the people that I've talked to, work with, right? So we can call the inner compass, the intuition, emotional guidance, different labels. It's the same thing, right? It's the body signals, right? And it signals first. So does it signal it's light and it's open and it's buoyant? That's a yes, right? Is it heavy? Is it tight? Is it draining? So that's a no. I mean, like it sounds like duh, right? But, words so your body isn't just using words. It's impulses, it's responding, right? Like it's listening and it's tuning in. And if the words haven't formed yet, however you get that impulse, that's perfect. Your body knows before your mind can often explain what you're even sensing. So there's things called somatic markers and how the body's influence, it influences our decisions. And so trusting that. So, what you could do is like think of a recent decision where did it, where did you feel it, right? Like where did you feel your yes? Where did you feel your no? Was it in your chest? Was it in your gut? Was it in your throat? Or was it all up here, right? And what was the quality? Was it expansive? Like, did it light you up? Did it make you feel bigger? Or did it like make you feel smaller? Did you want to restrict from it, right? So, it's tuning into what the body signals to you. And so I want to say that like why this no matters, like why we're going to focus on that. So we all love alignment, right? Knowing like, we're in the flow, we got joy, synchronicities, like we're feeling fantastic. But it's the moments of heaviness that we actually grow, right? So I have a feeling you tune into when you have a hell yes and you follow it, right? Like we take those impulses, we go, yeah, I'm a yes for this. Of course, you say yes, right? And it's when we have these no's in the body that we want to look at some things, right? And that no might be pointing you to an old belief, right? Like I'm not enough, I won't be loved, something's wrong with me, right? So you got to look behind the body's no, like what is that response? It might be a limiting identity that you've created. So you've got some self-doubt, how you see yourself, how you've labeled yourself, depending on who you're talking to or the situation. That compass might be interfered by these, limiting identities that you've created, these structures of who you think you are. Or it could be, a lot of it could be informed by an old wound or trauma or experiences that you've had that are stored in the body. So instead of like pushing past it, just be like, I'm gonna do it anyway, right? Pause and ask. So, what is this sensation trying to protect? Okay, so like, what is it pointing me to heal or to renegotiate or to upgrade, to up level, to release? And when we breathe with our bodies no, we often meet the part of us that's asking for more love, not just another hustle or plan, like just push on through, right? Do it anyway. Like, I'll just grit through this. There are those times, I get it, right? We learn through all of this, right? It's a compass. It's not an exact formula or yes or no. It's like, oh, you could be a little bit off, right? But it's the tuning in. And let me give you a little bit of a toolkit of how to do this. So I would say some of the first things of like tuning in to our inner compass is, man, you got to slow down that mind. You got to listen down here, right? I find like a lot of people, we live way up here all the time. And when I hear the phrase, figure it out, I know somebody's up here. They're not down here, right? My friend Joanna, she talks about like being in the body, right? Like when I'm in my body, staying in my body when the mind wants to leap out, right? It's like I'm going to stay in my body, stay with the sensation, right? So some things that you can do is like practices to slow the mind and listen to the body. So getting mindful, right? Depending on what the situation is, right? It could be 5 to 10 minutes of quiet breathing or journaling to notice the actual sensations. Like I can tell you, like writing stuff out, like I discover things by writing them, speaking them with someone else, right? Not like if you're in a heated argument with somebody, but like having someone have good listening so that you can talk it out and experience it. I think one of the best ways though for us to tune in, and it works the best for me anyway, because I like my alone time, is silence and solitude, right? So intuition whispers, and you got to create quiet. You got to find that quiet place. You got to find that quiet time. You got to get away, I think. So it could be just away in your room, away in the office, go to your car, whatever. Like I find some of my best intuition comes, especially when I'm away from society, like culture. So like if I can go out for a walk in a quiet park or go up on a hill or go by the beach or something, set an intention and walk without headphones or social media or any of that stuff. And you notice which direction feels lighter, right? Like you're tuning into like what's going on in here as you bring up that thing that you want to evaluate, answer, what is, if it's a decision you're trying to make or a yes, no, or why did I get so reactive with that, right? So it's beginning to read your somatic cues. This physiology that we have is so, it's kind of complex, right? But there is a guidance inside of it. And it's pretty simple once you start to get to know it. But, some of the ways you can do it on a somatic level is like scanning for light or heavy, right? Some people, maybe it's like warm, soft belly, like if it makes you feel at ease, you got a green light there, right? If you get tight or short of breath, or you just get like tense in your body, get curious. Like your body's sending you a signal, like it wants you to know something's going on. And look at those first three. Is it like a belief? Is it an identity? Is it an old story? Is it an old trauma? Something that you went through that's like resurfacing? And take a look, right? And you're coming at it from a place of like, like tending to a young child. Because if it is a wound, that's when it happened. Is like you have this young child that got hurt. Something happened and it got scared or intimidated or hurt, like pain, whatever it is. So start to notice what a no is for you. Like, oh, I get tight in my chest, right? Or, that tightness in your chest is like, I'm afraid I'm being judged, right? Like, so that's some old belief based on external validation or circumstances. So naming it can reduce the reactivity, right? And it increases your clarity. It's like, oh, that's where that's coming from. And it maps to, how our emotions are oftentimes like stories that we're telling ourselves up here, but they're trapped in our body. So separating your intuition from fear. Okay, so intuition, it feels like a calm, clear, steady voice. Like there's a level of certainty, and it's never pressured. It's never, it never judges you. It's never you're wrong. It's never like you're in a hurry, right? And it might ask for a bold move, but it's not going to bully you into that. It'd be like, oh shit, that sounds amazing. Like if it's a yes, like a hell yeah, sure. Like I just recently said hell yes to an epic hike up Mount Whitney, the highest point in the United States. And I was like, whoo, that scares me. And then I went, but damn, that sounds good. And, like what was right behind it. So the mind was like, holy shit, you haven't trained for this. Are you ready? And then I was like, that sounds freaking amazing. I should do it. Right. So, the intuition, you might have fear conditioning. So it feels urgent, like pressured, competitive, comparative, like hurry up or you'll be, ignored, or you'll fall behind, or something bad will happen, right? That's not how intuition sounds. Like asking, is this coming from love or fear? Like that's such a basic question to just like really get at the root of it. Like, is this coming from love or fear? And in that moment when I said, like, oh my God, going to Mount Whitney and I haven't trained and it's in 2.5 weeks, I was like, fear, I can't do it. But love was like, you should totally do it. Like, you could so do this. And I was like, oh, what if I could do it? Right. And then there's like micro reps, or like practice on like doing little pull-ups or push-ups with yourself, right? To start to like notice your intuition on small choices, definitely apply it to the big ones, but small one, like breakfast A or B, like, do I want Cheerios or do I want eggs, whatever, right? Which feels lighter. Like you're like, that sounds amazing, right? Email now or later. Should I send this or should I wait, right? So which choice like relaxes your body? Like, oh yeah, I should wait, right? Like when that question about Mount Whitney came, I was like, and then I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. I've always wanted to, and I always wanted to do it, but I was like, I've been talking about that recently. So those practices on small things and noticing the cues and checking in with your body, like what's a yes and what's a no, and like what's a hell yes. And I have a friend that's like, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no, right? But I think oftentimes we know a yes. It's the no's that we need to do some discernment, right? So something else to create those shifts, because oftentimes what we're tuning into is where our last emotional state was. So on that emotional compass, or on that inner compass level, choices when we're at a low vibration, when we're at a low frequency, when we're just like we don't have capacity, we lack sleep, we've been just like maxing it, busy, 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 if you will. So the choices, the compass, I would say down here is going to lead us a little bit more into the choices that are aligned with that lower frequency. Whereas if we bring our frequency up, we can align with higher aligned vibrations and choices, right? And I think you'll know this, like when you're, well, some of this what we're talking about is like those bigger choices, those deeper things. But like, if it's like end of the day and you're just zapped with energy, right? Are you going to be like totally inspired and hell yes for something that, or like, will you make no choices out of like, just like, I'm max, like I have nothing left, right? And even if it's a place of love, like you care about this person, you can make some choices depending on the frequency and how resourced you are, I would say. So, one of my favorite teachings from Abraham Hicks, it takes practice, and I'll mention it here briefly, but if you look up a Rampage of Appreciation from Abraham, it's like starting yourself on like directing your compass, right? Like directing your emotional state. And we can go into that into another video, but that's a practice, right? Like it's a way of moving you up the emotional scale, a rampage of appreciation, like being thankful for things and what's going right in your life, and noticing the beauty and all the good, right? That can like raise your vibration, and it broadens your perspective on your options, right? So one of the things I've learned is when emotions go up, intelligence goes down. They're inversely related, right? So if we're like highly triggered, like we get reactive, right? Like we lose all, let's say, logic, but it's really tuning into the body and like, what is the choice from the body also, right? So instead of responding, in that like, oh, I need to, attack and release, right? And the last thing I want to talk about is there's a beautiful body of work by Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza, and it's called the Heart Math Institute and Heart Coherence. And like, why is your heart your amplifier, right? So it's a little bit of sciencey stuff. So your heart and brain are in a constant conversation. Actually, you have three brains: numero uno, numero dos in your heart, and numero tres in your gut. But let's just say the classic ones that we think about, like heart in your chest, and the brain in your head or your mind, right? They're in a constant conversation. And when your heart rhythm is coherent, like when you have that like doot doot, like EKG, like nice coherence, not like when you have, let's say a state of peace or heightened like joyful rhythms, it's smooth. It's like a sine wave, like things are good, like all is well. You're in your parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest state, right? Your nervous system synchronizes, right? And people report more calm and clarity and better decision making, right? Because we have this coherence alignment. So, multiple studies, those guys have been working on this for many, many years and have thousands of results now. And they show that intentional heart coherence practices, getting the heart and mind in coherence, it can improve like our self-regulation. I would say that capacity, your cognition, and reduce your stress. You can think more clearly and feel better, right? So a couple of things about that, just how you might do quick coherence from them, right? So a couple things they point to is heart focus, right? So just literally like putting some attention on your heart, just like noticing your heart beating, thinking about your heart, putting your focus there. Like you can put your focus out there, you can put your focus on your ear, you can put your focus on, your breath, or you can just focus on your heart, just beating in your chest, 60,000 or 100,000 times a day on its own, right? But if you just put your focus on your heart, it's amazing. It will automatically start to come into rhythmic with it. Heart breathing, they call it, is breathing a little slower and a little deeper, as if, like in and out through your heart. So heart breathing, like breathing from your heart, right? Instead of like up in your upper chest. I see people who don't know how to breathe into their belly and their diaphragm, right? And even heart breathing is like allowing your breath to align with your heart. And heart feeling is recreating a sincere feeling in your heart, in your body of, things that are like signals and align with love, like appreciation, care, compassion, things like that. And it's crazy how having heart coherence, it improves our ability to make, let's say, good choices or more heartfelt choices in those tough decisions. So let's just put it together now for you. So for like an inner compass reset. So anytime you hit resistance when you have a big decision, right? So your inner compass is like, whoa! You could do the heart coherence methods, right? So like focusing on your heart, just put your hand on your heart, focus on it, heart breathing through the heart, breathing with the heart, and then conjuring up that feeling, like raising your vibration, coming to a place that's closer into alignment with your highest frequency, if you will. That could give you a much better perspective of, like what's available to you. Body scan questions, right? So like, where do I feel light versus heavy, right? So noticing if I get triggered or I'm noticing resistance in my body, like, where is it? Like, what is it? What's going on, right? And then asking yourself, like having some discernment. So is this love or is it fear? Like, where is this coming from, right? Is it calm and clear, or is it urgent and pressured? Is it like pushing, or is it just like being? And then begin an inquiry. Okay, so like if it's heavy, what belief, what identity could you have labeled with yourself, or what memory, what experience maybe is this protecting? And like what needs love? And there's all kinds of work out there. I mean, there's everything from somatic work to parts therapy to family systems, all that, whatever it is. But like noticing where it's coming from and what might be the source of it, right? And if it's a soulful no, if it's coming from love, then go in the direction of what it says, like follow its impulse. If it's coming from urgency and pressure and, like, oh, if you don't do it, like a threat, that's not coming from down here, right? That's coming from up here, from conditioning. And then, taking a tiny action, right? So take one aligned micro step that feels light right now, right? So, can you move towards what that is calling forth for you for your next step? So let's give me an example. So if an opportunity arrives, something shows up in your life, right? So, somebody asks you an opportunity or, an invitation, but your gut is heavy, right? You get this like So like pause, maybe check in with one of those coherence examples, or just deep breath, or maybe like remove yourself from the space, right? Like I remember reading Glennon Doyle Melton in her book talked about she would practice this at home, like in her closet. She would literally like go in her closet and practice like tuning into her intuition. And she's like, okay, now I know. And then she'd like go out, right? And then like she's in a meeting one day and there's like, la, 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 all this marketing stuff, business, business, business. And they're like, so what do you want to do? And she's like, hold on, and she was like, oh shit, I gotta like drive home and go get in my closet. She's like, damn, can't do that. So she goes, hang on. And she had just practiced it so many times. She just like went in and like, it was right there, right? And she checked in with her. She's like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing, right? It's there. It's sometimes we're a little on top of it, right? Slow it down, quiet, listen for that coherence and that compass. And if the inner yes returns, then like that's part of like coming from love, right? Or if it's like shoulding, or you ought to, or you have to, or judging you for it, it's not coming from your most aligned timeline, your most highest self, that true inner compass that's guiding you to your most beautiful life. So maybe it's a boundary conversation that you've been avoiding, right? So there's just like someone you just gotta say a few things to, like this has gone on too long, right? And you've been withholding and you haven't been communicating and you've been, fearful of how it's going to go, right? Like their needs matter more than how you feel in the situation. And so notice the fear of like saying something and just like get into a good space, right? And what would love say on my behalf, right? And one of the things that I say now is like, to have love and affinity present, or like the baseline I want with people is love and affinity, then what? How would I act? What would I say? What I want love and affinity here, not your needs matter more than mine or mine matter more than yours. But in the end, I want us to have love and affinity present between us. But I'm also going to trust my needs and speak, something that's on my heart, if you will. And then take that small, courageous step. Like, say it. Just speak it to them, right? So, your inner compass doesn't just point to what to do, all right? It often points, especially when it's a no, it points to what wants healing so you can move more freely. Okay, so listen to the lightness. That's a yes, right? I think we're all good at that. But respect the heaviness, respect the doubt, respect the, something about this is a no for me, right? Get coherent, use some practices, tune in, get silence, get out of the way, go by yourself, something, right? Go on a walk. And remember, the deeper truth always speaks like love and from love. And if this helps, then try this 3-minute reset this week. Journal what you notice. Your body is wise. Your soul is so kind to you. It would never talk to you like the way the monkey mind up here talks to you. And your path reveals itself one aligned step at a time through your inner compass, through your body's wisdom. So I hope this has been helpful. Inner compass, it's a beautiful tool once you learn how to use it and discern with it, and learn to trust it, right? Learn to tune into it, learn to trust it, and let it guide you.